Boy, Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there's just 258 days until Christmas 2023. Oh boy. And I've been busy working on getting my setup here. If the audio is wonky, let me know. It should be good. I checked with Jason before the stream started, and Jason's here. How you
Hey,
doing? Hey, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm awake.
Yeah. Well, I sent a text to my wife just before the stream started. Make sure I don't get myself in too much trouble. And I got one of these responses that I need to talk to her in person to know what it says, because the response I got was, I don't care. Now, when your wife tells you, I don't care, sometimes that's not true.
Right.
So,
Yeah. You're already in trouble. You didn't even do anything. You're already in trouble. So just might as well just do what you want now. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me.
so we'll see. Yeah, the setup is back. I've been working on, I worked on this all morning, getting this thing to work again. Because had to download all the files. There's little WebM files.
Well, it was really a whip with an elf, and he was like, oh, it's just people. It's just too obvious. I need to change it last minute.
Meg, hey, happy birthday. Meg, her birthday was yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday, Meg.
She's still in her 20s, so she's still a baby.
Oh, screw you, Meg.
She's still just a little child.
Whole life ahead of you. Whatever, Meg.
Oh, my goodness. It's great. So I caught Meg's video this morning, and we're going to talk about the Mandalorian. We're going to talk about season 3, episode 7. We're coming into the final of it. And just so folks know, spoilers are likely to be spilled, right? The tea is likely to be spilled. We're going to do all the things, right? We're going to do all the things. So if you don't want to know, when we get to that section, you can drop out. I see, but I've got some friends in the chat. We've got lots of folks here, and some are watching, but not in the chat. So appreciate that as well. And you know who you are. Thank you for reaching out to me. Love all you guys. Celebration. Wow. What a celebration.
I didn't go. I don't know. I heard about it though.
I heard about it. Well,
dude, I was waking up like 3 a.m. to like follow along and to like, and whatever. And then I was just exhausted from that. I was like, I'm glad I didn't go, because that was a lot already. I was like, yeah. And then I took my kids to Universal Studios to go to Super Mario World. And so today I'm like, I feel like I went to Celebration, even though I didn't. I like literally feel like I did that.
Well, it looked awesome. It looked like it was a great time. It was following Meg every day. She was giving us updates from there. Of course, following the regular news as well. And there was a lot of news to discuss. We talked Friday about the new movie announcements, and those are exciting. And the first one coming up, of course, is 2025. And some people were thinking that maybe Dave Filoni's movie would sneak in for that first one. But no, my friends, no, not Dave Filoni's Mando movie. That's not happening yet. In fact, I'm not sure they're ready for the story by 2025. As we look at where it's going, that 2020 did Meg reveal herself? Well, we know. No, I was going to make a joke. I won't. I won't. No, no. There are people who recognized her. There are people who now have met her face to face and know who they met. There are also people who met her and have no clue who they met. Or like some random British chick just said hi. I don't know.
That's why you have to follow it up with "I'm Meg. You might know me from my channel, Star Wars Meg." Come on.
Dave Tree just recognized her right off the bat. Boom. I know who you are. Boom. Just like just off of his just off of her voice. And so that was good. And then of course she met other folks who know who she is, and it's great. It's great. But the first movie is not going to be Dave Filoni's. The first movie out is going to be which one?
It's going to be the Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy film first. It's supposed to be. It's what it should be. I think that's what they want. That's what they want to happen. There was it a Puck News article or something like that? I couldn't read it because it's behind the paywall, and I'm like, I'll let somebody else pay for it. But yeah, there's already stuff saying it might be 2026, and I still think that that kind of situation is still possible, just because, like I was saying, like the writer strike that's coming. That's going to happen.
I'm so glad you brought that up. But so that's the other part. That's where my brain went when I saw Meg's message. Dave and John are writing Mando season 4. They also have Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew that are a part of this whole universe, right? Yeah. So we've got Mando 3, we've got Ahsoka coming up, and what an amazing trailer we got for Ahsoka. And then if you guys caught the extended trailer, there's a couple of other things in there that are nice to see. And I suspect it won't be long before the rest of us will have full access to that extended trailer. The series comes out in August, so we're just around the corner. But so we got Ahsoka coming right up, Skeleton Crew coming right up, and then Mando season 4 on the heels of that.
Season 4 of Mando and something else is supposed to film right after the writer's strike, in what they hope will be after the writer's strike. And Mando 4 is already supposed to be written, but I think it's probably most likely written in a way where they know how to make the digital sets, and they know what props they're going to need and stuff like that. And then, so who knows if it's like completely like final draft, it's all locked, we're good to go. But they're supposed to wait until after the strike to start filming. That way they can have on-set writers to, or John can write on set and punch up dialogue and stuff like that, which at this point, I'm starting to think that they should bring some more on-set writers on to help with the stuff as it's happening, because some of the lines are not working all the time so well as they did earlier on when it was like just Mando, or when it was a smaller scale show. And but anyways, I think we got 2 that are going to film starting around October.
Well, I wanted to bring this up because you mentioned it, and here in the Los Angeles Times just today, they posted a story about the upcoming Hollywood strike, the writer's strike.
I gotta say, you should follow the Writers Guild of America West there on Twitter, because these mainstream publications, they're all bought off. They will put the most idiotic people in there. They will take the most idiotic perspectives on there, and they will do it to make it sound like these people are just trying to shake the money tree and stuff like that. But there's just stuff that doesn't end up in these articles that is the actual point of the strike. I've read them all. Oh, and I'm telling you, it's a thing. It is a conspiracy. And this one, they are doing it because the thing about it is the writers, with inflation and with what's happened, they're working a lot more than they used to, and they're making 25% less. This is just math. This isn't like my opinion or their opinion. It's the truth. You're not seeing that pop up in these articles. Imagine if all of a sudden you made 25% less that you made last year, and they're just like, just deal with it. Stop being a baby about it.
The question: How excited I get when they announce the Ray movie? I am quite excited about it, Nick. Not only the potential to see the sequel characters developed, but to see how they might carry on the saga after. There's two pieces to that, really, in my mind. One is they've kind of admitted this is more or less episode 10. So if you looked at Rise of Skywalker's episode 9, this is more or less episode 10, even though it's not a true continuation of that like saga itself, right? So there's so there's that. So I'm curious where we're going to go after the fall of the First Order. The New Republic's gone. Like, where are we going after this? And there's a great opportunity, just like now in the Mandoverse, where there's opportunity to tell the story of the New Republic and sort of the issues with that, as well as like the rise of the First Order. All that's sort of happening adjacent to the Mandalorian.
You can't say that word. I think you're saying my name every time. I'm like, what?
Yeah, so there's that. The other thing is I absolutely love Rey. People know that about me, and I have my personal reasons for that. I understand there are people who don't like her character, but in either event, I think there's a great opportunity to continue the stories, develop the characters, and let us get closer to them. One thing that's really helped, let's say with Ahsoka, for example, right? We can get excited about Ahsoka. Well, we had multiple seasons of the Clone Wars to get to know her. We had lots of content to see her character develop over time, and it's not squeezed within a short window. I'll say the same about Anakin from the prequels. Like, I didn't really connect to that character, Anakin, in the prequels. It took me time through the Clone Wars to get to know him better and to feel like he was a more rounded out character. I very much want to see that happen with the sequel era characters, and I really hope they get John Boyega on board to come into that as well. So that's me. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was just gonna say, exactly what you kind of said. Basically, is that it like characters in the archetypes in which they're kind of constructed in Star Wars for the most part. There's not really a lot of reason to dislike a character.
Well,
based off of the archetype, because when they're written, it's the stories and the way that they're written. If you only saw the Clone Wars film from 2008 and she's saying R2E and Sky Guy, I could see being like, yeah, this isn't for me. But then, it could totally like overlooks like the Tarkin Tribunal where she's, kicked out of the Jedi Order and all of this like stuff that's more intriguing. So I think it's usually a bit foolish to go, I don't like a character in Star Wars.
Well, I saw Nick's here from Echo Base Network. I saw Nick, and I watched part of a video they were doing. They were doing a live stream Friday. I think
on me and Meg, that one.
No. With Ryan.
Was it the one with Nick? Hey guys, hope everybody's doing good. Everybody's friends. Hope everybody's friends.
Behave.
I mean, just don't be phony, Nick.
Behave.
Just be a man.
Behave.
I mean, come on. He's fake though. He's a faker. He's a faker.
Jason.
It's not real. It's fake.
I was watching Robert Meyer Burnett, RMB, was talking about how we need to put characters ahead of universe. So, like in one of his Robert Meyer Burnett's criticisms of a lot of current content, be it Star Wars or Star Trek or anything like that, is that they often get too caught up with universe and not the characters and the character development. And so you get a feeling when all said and done, like something fell flat. I connected to these characters myself. A lot of people didn't. And I would think that anybody who wants to see Star Wars succeed would want to see more character development, whether it's with Rey or anybody else, right? So
of course.
So there's that. So I'm very excited, very, very excited for that. What we also know there's going to be a movie set in. So that's
Oh,
the.
and you know Finn's going to be in it.
I
There
hope
is
so.
no way. There's. I don't think there's any way we get to the end of this without Finn and Mark Hamill being included, because right now everybody's buzzed off of Ray's back. That's
Yeah.
all. Ray's back. Ray's back. Once that sets in, then it becomes, where's Finn? Then it becomes,
Where's
but what
Poe?
about Luke Skywalker? Where's Luke? Luke's gonna be a ghost, right? Luke's ghost is gonna show up to her, right?
Yeah.
And there's like two ways Star Wars has classically handled this. You do it, you put Luke in because you can. Mark Hamill will probably do it. He'll hang out with Daisy Ridley, he'll do it. Or you go, she has to do it on her own now, so Luke pieces out. But if you do that, you can't have Luke show up later. You can't like set that rule and then break it later on. So it's a big rule to set, I think.
Yeah, agreed. And, John Boyega better get a lightsaber. I'm with you, Rick.
Yeah.
I have another. So there's so much to talk about with Celebration. We haven't got to the Mando stuff, and I got some channel news I want to share that and my brain is just kind of ping ponging around.
Mhm.
One thing on the channel, one thing on the just one thing as it comes up, and I saw Dawn in the chat. Dawn lives
Dawn.
in Indiana. Dawn is contemplating spending too much money again by going down to Indianapolis for the Indiana Con coming up the first weekend in May. Well, my friends, this morning I had another friend contact me from Florida. One of my Florida friends.
Was it Florida Man? Do you know Florida Man?
I wish I knew Florida Man because that dude knows how to party.
He's got Flocka.
They're my Florida friend, Yadita,
Yadi.
she is a fantastic photographer. She for example, I've got my calendar on my desk. She shot this with one of her figures. Like I get these, I get the monthly. She is
cool.
a fantastic photographer. She's a toy collector.
Does she sell those like at some place? Like on
I don't know. I don't know if she sells them.
She should.
But boy, they're so good. Yadi is fantastic. She said, hey Santa, thinking about doing something dumb. I'm thinking about going to Indianapolis. I'm like, oh no. So I text my wife and said, hey, I think I could go to Indianapolis the first Saturday in May and hang out with.
You didn't say, hey, can I go to Indiana and hang out with another woman? You didn't say it like that though, right?
Well, she does
because you are in trouble. You are busted.
She met Yadi. She knows Yadi.
Yeah,
but and she's used to be hanging out with other women all the time.
Yeah.
Santa.
Santa's a good boy. We know that. She knows that.
So I think I'm going to go out to Indianapolis the first weekend in May, and I'm going to go to that Indiana Con because they keep doing these daggum celebrations like in other continents on Easter weekend. I'm thinking, well, what if I just went to some regional conventions, go to Cleveland, go to Indianapolis, go to maybe Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, that kind of thing. And we can have meetups in those kind of places. So if you guys are interested in trying to meet up over in Indianapolis on the first weekend of May, come on over. Or better yet, next week I'm going to be down in Tennessee, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, at a Santa Claus convention. If you'd like to see 300 Santa Clauses from all around the world, all in one place at the same time, come to Gatlinburg next week. Santa will be there. Lots of us, but I'll be there too. So that's a little news. So you guys come meet and let me know if you're in the neighborhood. You can reach me on Discord. It's a great way. You could just DM me there. So
when I went to a celebration in Indiana, I was like 20, so I was going on the cheap, and I was able to go and like there were like a lot of like motels and stuff that weren't that bad, that were like a short cab, like a $20 cab ride away. I saved a ton of money when I went like for celebration 2 and 3 back then. I think I was staying downtown. But you have like a motorized mansion that I think you drive around in with Santa magic.
I do. I
So,
do. But I'm thinking about just getting up in the morning and driving over.
how long would that take you? I'm thinking from my own brain, not from
it's
yours.
a little over 4 hours. About a
Okay.
4-hour drive. It's not
Yeah.
terrible at all.
Get some podcasts going, couple cups of coffee.
Yeah, get up early in the morning, drive over to Indianapolis. Oh, but you raise a good idea. Maybe I can find a campground over there and get my wife to go, and we'll spend the weekend over there. We'll leave like Friday. That'd be good. That'd be good. So anyhow, there's tons of celebration news. Just wanted to let you guys know we maybe have a meetup first weekend in May over in Indianapolis. If you're in Tennessee and you're in that area, I'll be down there next week. So there'll be some traveling going on. So there's another movie that was announced that's going to be the very first Jedi ever, the very first Force user of all time. So
played by Gina Carano. No, not her. No,
she's way too old. Way too young. She wouldn't even be around. Oh, there we go. Dawn's going to be. She has a room reserved, connects to the convention hall, so she's going to be there. She's going to apply for a cosplay to be in Star Wars. So many questions being asked, and you shouldn't put it that way in the chat, Dawn. People are going to read into that.
Oh,
and just,
by the way, I don't think I told you, or maybe I did. They went after me over Thrawn. They were salty about my Thrawn stories. And so I spent I reposted the Thrawn picture that was out there. They gave me takedowns everywhere. I wasn't even the first to do it by any stretch. So I just been spending the whole weekend just retweeting every time I see a Thrawn picture. Let's do it, Lucasfilm. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well,
stupid. It's so petty, but it's funny to me.
We have lots of. I don't know what's going on in the world, but I can tell you in Central Ohio, Gatlinburg is like the mecca of all places. My cousins are going down there all the time. My nieces and nephews are going down there all the time. Random people. I just go to get the oil changed in the truck, and they say, "Hey, you getting ready to go on a trip?" Yeah, we're headed to Gatlinburg. Oh, we just got back. The mail lady just came back from Gatlinburg, going down again whenever. And so Gatlinburg, Tennessee is the place to go.
Is that like Duckburg? I don't know. Never heard of it.
We've got 3 movies coming. A before, during, and after. The before is the first Force user. The during is Dave Filoni's. And then the after involves some of the sequel characters.
I heard like something that like I wouldn't run this on the site. Like I wouldn't run this as like a rumor on the site because I'm just like it just kind of like heard it. And one of the things that they were saying was they were like it's undecided if the Filoni movie is actually going to be a theatrical film.
What?
Actually, yeah, if it's actually going to be like a theatrical thing, and that's why they didn't do like release dates and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, but it's from somebody who I generally like have gotten really, really good information from in the past. But
if that's true, that is a huge
that'd be shit
waiting to go off.
Yeah,
that's
that'd be terrible.
Huge bomb getting ready to go off because everybody's assuming it's a theatrical movie. That's how it was.
Yeah. I know that's why I'm saying that's why I'm like I heard that and I was just like
dude, I'm just like if that happens then there's going to be hell to pay. Like there's going to be people really angry.
I have a feeling that that was probably true at one point.
Wow.
And maybe it's not because I would feel like that was a big switcheroo if they because of how it was presented with a slate of films that would be theatrical. It makes you think that, but
I'd be pulling the carpet out from a lot of people, and they'd be upset. And
I personally don't think it's going to pan out that way. I don't think it would be worth the money to do that.
Yeah,
I don't think Disney Plus movies make sense.
No. Okay, all right. I want to move on because we also got a lot of stuff from the Acolyte. I'm excited about that in 2024. We also got news that the Bad Batch season 3, the final season of the Bad Batch is coming out in 2024. I love the Bad Batch, and I know it's not for everybody. Star Wars animation's not everybody's cup of tea. My friend Yachty loves it. I do too. Star Wars animation is a great storytelling medium, and we had the Clone Wars, we've had Rebels, we've had Bad Batch that I think are all top notch kind of animation. There have been other projects along the way that's not
Tell the
not so
Jedi 2
great.
are coming up too.
So there are other projects. This is sort of where I want to go. Once
Mhm.
Bad Batch is done, right? We get through the Bad Batch. I have them like in different tiers. So you've got Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch. Resistance was couched as one of those, but it kind of didn't quite fire off.
Yeah.
Then you've got others like Tales of the Jedi. They're shorts, right? Tales of the Jedi, Visions, all of that, right? They're shorts. They come out like a whole season to drop in one time. Very, very good animation, like fantastic animation. But they're not quite the same tier as like the long storytelling that we get in Clone Wars and all of that, right?
Right.
And then there's the other stuff, right? There's Lego Star Wars, great for just humor. There's the new show that's coming up, the Young Jedi Adventures. It looks great, and the stuff I've seen for it so far looks great.
It looks like a great toddler toy commercial to me.
Right. So it's not necessarily. You see what I'm saying? It's not the same tier as I would put this other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's great. I love that Star Wars has these different kind of outlets for different kind of content. Wonderful. What's the next thing after Bad Batch? Is that tier gone? Are they going to give us another tier of animation that fits in that grouping? Or are we done?
I would imagine we would get it, but with what Disney Plus and the streaming services in general are going through right now, I would kind of imagine that that would be one of the first places to cut costs because of the price of animation for them versus what they do in live action. It's kind of like, well, that doesn't really bring in subs, but the live action stuff does. So you cut back on some of that stuff. You could pay for some of these for these live action series shows, mini series, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised, but they also do have to have like, and I think that that ends up meaning cheaper, more just dumb animation stuff just to fill that like stuff for parents who just put on stuff for their children.
Well,
You know
that's
what I
what
mean?
that's exactly.
That's yeah, and I'm with you there, but I don't think that would be I'm guessing not forever, but I'm thinking it means that's what it's going to be for this current time. What do you say? The Paley Moto Chronicles. I hate you, Rob. But right now, I'm talking about like with the market right now. That's probably what would happen. They will probably put that out, and then they will put. But I think that it like tells of the Jedi, the fact that we're getting another season of that. Like that show is kind of like, I don't think it's cheap, but I don't think it's the most expensive thing they can do because they've like everything is already like developed for what the show looks like. What between Bad Batch and the Clone Wars and assets and stuff that they have and that can be used, and like what the workflow is. There's no like surprises that usually are going to pop up for that, and then those are short. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tales of the Jedi is kind of what we get to hold us over for a time.
That's what I'm thinking.
On that tier,
like,
yeah.
For me, I'm worried about that tier disappearing, at least for a while. I think, but I'm worried about it just disappearing and being replaced with the live action streaming shows.
Yeah,
because of the ROI, right? It's all about return on investment, the cost versus return, and the cost for that tier of animation is higher, and the views are lower in relative terms to say like Visions or Tales of the Jedi, or perhaps a Tales of the Sith at some point, or Tales of the Bounty Hunters, as I see Jedi, right? There could be lots of Tales stories that are shorts that can do a whole season in like a 45-minute block of 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there, something like that. But so I'm just concerned that we're not going to get long form animation multi-season kind of events that tell a story over a multi-season kind of thing.
Yeah.
And cutting the Bad Batch at 3 seasons is a little short, right? It's the same as I mean, Rebels got 4, Resistance got 2, so it's right in the smack dab in the middle, and I'm just worried about it. I'm worried about it. I would love to see like a post Return of the Jedi. I've been calling this. I would love to see post Return of the Jedi animated with Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, telling their stories, because you've got Mark Hamill to do the voice acting. You got plenty of people to do Carrie impersonation or whatever, right? You could carry that off.
They would
tell those stories.
They would have to go. Well, see, like Mark Hamill's voice isn't the same. He's hit a stage of old man. He doesn't have. It's not like Picard where you're like, oh my god, you sound like you're one step away from the grave right now. But they would have to use a voice actor to do it. It wouldn't. They couldn't use Mark, or they'd have to AI it. I don't think they would AI it though.
Yeah,
and
I think.
But the problem with the post Return of the Jedi story timeline is that's where they're currently developing live action.
Yeah.
So it would require. So it's like,
except it's after, right? Like we're in the
like
what we're doing in the Mando versus after. I want to see Luke out doing his Jedi Academy. There's talks about Rey's Jedi Academy, and real quick, like if you go back and read the books on Luke's Jedi Academy, Young Jedi, there's a name for the series. Anyhow, they Palpatine returns. Right, that's part of that story. There's things going on, and you get like Lando comes in, all kinds of fun going on. All kinds of fun. It's a great series. And a lot of people are saying, well, maybe that'll get adapted into Rey's story in some way. Well, I don't want Palpatine to come back ever again. I'm done with that. Let's move on. So I don't want those sort of adapted. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, they won't ever adapt anything. Yeah. The work that would go into adapting, like Filoni's creative, he'd be like, well, and he probably read the stuff to some extent as it came out and was like, eh. So he already has his ideas about what it would be. I mean, I'm with you though. I would love that if that could exist, but it totally won't, because like that movie that Filoni's going to make might have them in it.
Yeah,
and it might again, they always recontextualize. Like you're going to think it's this it was this one way,
right?
And then it's going to be a slightly different way.
No, you're right
when they do it.
But
the idea of that movie though, having like Luke Skywalker fighting Balon, for instance, with Ahsoka and stuff like that, like that's just like so cool when you think about what could happen, about how far they could take it.
I thought Tales of the Jedi season 1 was great.
Yeah,
getting additional seasons of that will be great. It's great Star Wars content. So don't get me wrong. Like I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for Visions season 2, and some of that stuff looks hilarious. I love the Wallace and Gromit kind of style stuff.
There's like a whole Wedge episode, I heard.
It looks so good. Oh my goodness! Look here, Bespin. Adapt Shadow of the Sith, just so I could see Ochi again. Hey, we got a $5 super chat from Nick. Thank you for the super chat, Nick. Was it me, or did some of the Ahsoka trailer scenery around her look animated? P.S. Santa's cooler than Jason. Thank you, Nick. Sure. It's always nice when somebody says that I'm cooler than anybody, because pretty much my wife thinks I'm the least cool person that exists on the planet. So that's great. But I want to talk about the Ahsoka trailer a little bit. So thanks for introducing that, Nick, because in the Ahsoka trailer, we talked about this on my Zoom call yesterday.
What the cartoon?
There's a scene where Ahsoka's confronting Balin, right? They're having a confrontation, and there's a bunch of stuff in the background. Hey, Meg, gotta head off. Love you too, Meg. I absolutely adore you. Absolutely adore you. Thanks so much. I was going to say something earlier, but then I know how things go on this stream. It would be contrived wrong, so I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, like Arya says that every shot on that Ahsoka trailer looked like it was in the volume. Yeah, because it was.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, so anyway, I want to bring up, so when they're confronting each other and there's some like relics around them. Is that the
Mhm.
right word? There's like pieces of walls and stuff around them.
Mhm.
And there's floor. Then there's on the walls around them are the projections of like a star chart. And there's been a lot of speculation that happened in the world between worlds. I say, whoa, 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 hold on a second. Pay attention to a little bit of context, right?
Okay.
Pay a little bit of context. There's ground, like earth kind of ground, and there's pieces of like structures around them.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back and watch Rebels, when Ezra Bridger gets his lightsaber kyber crystal from Yoda in the Lothal Temple,
Mm-hmm.
there's that star chart that's cast above him and around him. He goes into the world between worlds, but when they're in the world between worlds, they're sort of walking on these transparent walkways that have like blue, white, I should say, white rails on the side. All right, and they walk in between. There's also a difference when Ezra's in the Lothal Temple. All of that star charting is sort of a blue light. When they're in the world between worlds, it's all white light, like all the lines and stuff. The star chart stuff is white. Go back and watch the Ahsoka trailer. It's blue lines and it's Earth. I would expect if they were in the world between worlds, it would be like a path, like in space. Like there's like
it would have that like, I don't know what you call it, Rainbow Road version of the Darksaber for the ground.
Yeah.
like from Mario Kart, but it's like the Darksaber version skin.
Yeah. It's one of those where I'd just be laying flat on the ground, like on that path, afraid to move.
Yeah.
It looks like you're just suspended in the middle of air, like there's nothing around. So
if you're not a Jedi, you just walk off the side into oblivion, probably.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then
you probably show up in Cecilia's too, Nick.
Jason,
what? It's true.
You can't behave. So the Ahsoka trailer, I'm excited for the series, and I just want to bring up. So did part of that look like it was sort of animated in the background? Yeah, but I think basically in there. The other part about that trailer,
it's the volume. I mean, it's like the only thing about it is it's always going to look like the volume unless they recomposite it.
True,
which they're not going to for Disney Plus.
And it sells better when they have extensive set pieces.
Yeah,
right, and so that it blends in better. The other part about that trailer, and you pointed this out, was we were talking Friday, that we believe that, and you've been told this as well, that Morgan Elsbeth is building a fleet for Thrawn.
It's either a ship or a fleet, or that's how it's been like described to me. It's been like a vessel. And like I have questions though. I have as many, that's why when I'm like reporting that, I'm like, I have as many questions as I do answers on that one. I'm like, is this supposed to go and take the seventh? Like, is this thing so big it takes the 7th fleet inside of it and brings it back with it? Why would they have to do that?
I don't know.
And then like we also have the stormtroopers that are on dead, so they have to come back too. So it's not just Thrawn bringing himself, in which case maybe they would just get a little space Uber, fly him back, but they also have to bring their squads of stormtroopers and stuff like that too. So and then that Inquisitor, what the heck is that guy? Is that guy just one of Morgan Elsbeth? Is that the Imperial Remnant? Have they started the Inquisitor program? Like there's all this stuff. I can't figure it out.
So our friend Mark,
Mark.
Yeah, sent us some pictures, and this is from the old Heir to the Empire, and a lot of people are excited about this. The Heir to the Empire thing. This is from some comics, right? So we've got this is the Lost Fleet. See that? And then here's another picture. Here's another picture of them, right? And then this is the picture of what we saw in the trailer. What perhaps Morgan Elsbeth is building, right?
Right.
There's a huge similarity there. Like nobody can miss that, right? Like those dots are fairly closely connected. I think that the scenes in there, and this is speculation, when we
Yeah.
see Ahsoka like in that shipyard, that's where Morgan Elsbeth is building these. That could very well be that case, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, it's when he posted that in our chat, I was like, I'm convinced, but I'm also like, is this just post Return of the Jedi kind of looking like ship? See what I mean? Like, what do you when you're drawing post Return of the Jedi stuff? But it's not. It's not a. I'm not unconvinced. I'm usually pretty cynical about that stuff, and I was like a little bit like, well, I'm kind of seeing it. I'm kind
yeah.
of seeing it on that.
All right. So there's the Inquisitor could be the eighth brother. I've seen a lot of stuff about that.
Mm-hmm.
We see an Inquisitor in there, and in the extended scene, you can see him like in a fighter kind of cockpit, and you
Yeah.
see his face more on. And in that, the helmet he's wearing does look remarkably close to the eighth brother. So that very well could be the case.
I was trying to figure out like why would an Inquisitor, somebody with like the Force and those kind of powers,
Mhm.
why would they want to commit to serving anybody when they sort of almost have like carte blanche just to rule the whole thing? And like that's where I kind of go like if you know like, oh yeah, Thrawn, I'll listen to what you say. Why? I got the Force. I'll just choke everybody and tell everybody to do what I want.
Yeah.
So and I'm already evil. I'm already on the path towards like that's that side of stuff. So I was almost have to think that there has to be like a respect for like the leadership and like a path towards like victory in that way, but also something else. And I'm wondering if this Inquisitor wants revenge, you know, wants like revenge against Ahsoka and Sabine over the Rebels era stuff where they
Oh,
wiped out their friends.
so there's another point that you raised in your stories that these two Jedi types, right? The two Balin and Shin
Mhm.
are red orange lightsaber folks.
Yeah.
And by the way, Dave Filoni said that was intentional that they have that coloring, the orange with the kind of red. It's fantastic.
It's crazy that people thought that was on accident, as if anything in Star Wars looks like anything on accident, though.
It looks just like this Darth Vader saber from the original posters. Looks just like it, exactly. Yeah. And I think too that Shin does have
The Padawan braid.
well, she does, but I think she's got what's his name saber, Kanan. Kanan. Yeah, I think she's got Kanan saber, and in that these are dark Jedi. But anyhow, without going too far down that hole, Balin and Shin work for Morgan. Yeah,
Yes,
that's what we believe.
Yes. They are in. So at first, I thought they were out there in that new area where Thrawn is with Thrawn. It turns out they are at the start of the series. They're like in the core worlds with Morgan. They go with Morgan to the Thrawn space and fight for Thrawn in that space against Ahsoka and Sabine.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So this Inquisitor guy probably works for Morgan as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's safe to say.
But yeah, it's like it's interesting because it's like they're not Inquisitors, but then that's an Inquisitor. That's just people just like, you know what? Just keeping my old job, got my old job uniform. This is what I am. It's what I am. I'm not gonna relearn anything, you know.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, I guess if it works.
Is there any chance Shin will take the place of Mara Jade? So again, I am reminded, my brother talked to me once and says, dude, you're way too much into this nerd stuff, and I don't know what you're talking about half the time.
So dorks. Shut up, dorks.
So I have to stop every now and then, give some context around this.
Yeah.
So in the original Heir to the Empire, which is a series of books that Timothy Zahn wrote back in the 90s, a lot of things have been borrowed and adapted into Star Wars in different ways, different flavors, different kind of things. Thrawn, for example, came from those books that were invented by Timothy Zahn. He created Thrawn. And there's some news on that front as well. So in that whole series of books, there's a bad guy in there named Joris Sabaoth. He's a clone. He's a little wacko in the head.
And me and Mark have a band called Black Sabaoth, which is a Black Sabbath Star Wars band. We never practiced yet, but we're going to someday. You'll see.
Nice. Well, he wants Mara Jade to be his apprentice, and she's like, "You're a little wacko, buddy," but still. So they are both quote unquote dark Jedi, and so when you see this guy Balin, he could be an adaptation of a Joris Sabaoth type, the character type for the story. Maybe he's not though, but if he is, the connection.
Do you have a guess? Do you have a guess about what their deal is yet? I got mine.
I do have a guess. My guess is that he is not a clone like Joris Sabaoth was, and nor is he like a complete wacko in his noggin.
Yeah.
I think he's an entirely new character that is being introduced to the fandom, and I do think that he is a dark Jedi. I think they're going to bring that concept in. It's somebody who's not a follower of the Sith. He's a dark Jedi, and the reason that Shin has a Jedi braid or a Padawan braid is he is using the same sort of hierarchy like that was in the Jedi Order, and just saying, "You're my Padawan," even though they're not Jedi, right? So he's using that kind of hierarchy to distinguish that she's studying under him, but they use the Force for their own abilities. And then I do think that they might bring in the synthetic kyber. That's how originally these red lightsabers came into existence.
But if she is using what's his name saber, she wouldn't need it. They would be doing some other version of Bleeding the Crystal, correct?
Or they upgrade. So like in the old novels, they would upgrade by going from natural kyber to synthetic kyber, because the synthetic kyber was supposedly stronger. And then so they very well could be saying, "I'm upgrading you to this." So I think that that's where we're headed. That's just my own.
Yeah, mine is like, I think that because I know he's a Jedi, I know he's an Order 66 survivor, and then that he obviously goes through some stuff and ends up where they're at. So I think he's sort of doing a Kylo Ren, where he's like killing the past, but also kind of a little bit keeping about what worked. The Padawan,
Knights of Ren. It's a different kind of thing.
But the like power structure works. That did work. That was good. He saw that get him the ability to survive. He was a Padawan, but also there's a bit of like probably arrogance and self-importance in the fact that you pretty much think the Jedi are completely wiped out and you're one of the last ones. Now it's up to you for this ancient knowledge to not get lost. And the Jedi were an apparatus of the state. And so he still sees that as being something like, yeah, we should still be in service to something, but he's lost his way over the years, and he thinks that this Thrawn cat is the answer because the Republic sucks. The old Republic failed. The Empire wanted to kill him, and Thrawn was probably like keeping him safe in some way for his own personal power during the dark times. I think that's going to be the story. That's my guess.
Nice.
And so we'll see something like that come out, where it's sort of a Kylo-esque.
Nice. Robert Sinclair, I see where you're going with this, Robert, with the zombie type, undead type.
I hadn't even thought of that, Robert.
I don't think so, because I think they're in the Mando space, not the other space. And
but Morgan's there. But Morgan's there. Morgan's the one who's doing it. Morgan's the witchy witch who leads the other witches. So it's possible he could be right. They could be.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to say you're wrong. How about that? I was going to say you're wrong, but now I back off. No, it's not. You're not wrong. I don't know.
Okay, here's what I would say. Here's the one thing I'd say going against it though. We don't see any of those bands that we see like the red like things on him. That's the one thing I'd say going against it right now. But maybe he has it under his armor and he puts his armor on over it. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anthony's
witch
been
charm.
asking the question about all these different shows and the timelines. This does get confusing for folks like my brother who they don't follow and they're like, and to be fair, it was confusing for a lot of people when Mandalorian season 1 came out and they're like, oh, baby Yoda, and they're like, no, Yoda's dead. It's not baby Yoda. And they're like, it's baby Yoda. No, it's still not baby Yoda. Like,
but come on, it's Baby Yoda, right?
You're like, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
Sure.
Same thing. So in the same era, we have Mandalorian 1, 2, 3, and then 4, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew in the same era. Different era is Andor, and even different era would be Acolyte. So different eras, not the same kind of overlap and all of that. Bad Batch, roughly close-ish to Andor, but not really the same time exactly. So there's different timelines, and I just can't go into mapping all that out for you, Anthony. You can look into it, do a Google search, you can find it. So there's more. The Shin coming out of the elevator. I wanted to bring this up too.
Mm-hmm.
Shin comes out of the elevator. Yeah, we saw the Padawan braid. We talked about that just a little bit. Do they think of themselves as Jedi? I think they think of themselves as dark Jedi, or a different kind of, like Jason said, where Kylo Ren, right? Ben Solo thought of himself as a knight of Ren. Like,
yeah, because like the whole dark
Ren.
Jedi and gray Jedi thing, that would be like you saying you're a dark Christian. It's like those things are kind of like philosophically opposed to each other in the title with the philosophy. So that's where I gotta think they think there's something else.
I don't know what the terminology is, but the closest I can say is back to the Heir to the Empire books and the concept of a dark Jedi,
right?
Which came before Sith was commonly used. So that's the closest thing we could say. But I agree, it's some sort of other thing. But I wanted to bring out when she comes out of the elevator and she's pew pew pew.
Mm-hmm.
The lady shooting at her, right?
Yeah.
The lady shooting at her. That lady shooting at her. Is she wearing New Republic outfit? Or is she wearing?
I assumed it was a New Republic captain's outfit.
I thought the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday on my Zoom call, when we were going through it and looking at it, I don't have enough visual evidence to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask you about that, because she comes out of there and she's the lady comes out of the chair just firing at her, right, at Shin. And Nerd Mafia, he was on the call yesterday. I think that it's a New Republic officer that is shooting at Shin, which puts them not a New Order or like an Empire type person, right?
Okay,
that's my guess.
Yeah.
Mumbo Jimbo also thinks New Republic officer. We're trying to help Nerd Mafia on his next video so he gets it right. You know, so because you could jump to different conclusions. Ahsoka trailer, lots of stuff. You know what? We still haven't even gotten to Mandalorian. Oh my goodness, and we're almost an hour in. There's tons of things to talk about still. I do want to go through Bespin's site. We'll talk more about this maybe later in the week, but I do really want to get to Mandalorian. Rey's Jedi Academy movie, I had to bring out because there's just a picture of Rey.
Right.
Visions season 2 trailer. We talked about that. Some of that looks brilliant, and I like that some of the studios working on this are not Japanese. We got some from Ireland, we got some from Japan, we got some from different studios around the world. That's kind of exciting to see what they may come up with from there. And then this dude making Star Wars. trying to.
Oh, that last article I did was I put that out when I did because of the Filoni movie news that was about to hit. By the way, it's a big one.
Hey, Matt, have you landed in the States? I know he was getting ready to head from London over. This morning I saw he was traveling back. Have you landed? Are you stateside? Back in your home state yet? Or are you still working your way that way?
Yeah, traitor, back in the good old USA because these colors don't run, even the celebration.
That's right. And for some of you who weren't around, Jason's son got to lead the pledge last week.
He did.
Jason got to be a proud dad, go see his son be a true American.
now I'm all about America.
Yeah, he's in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is not close to Matt's home, so he's still got another hop or so to make.
All I know is you make some damn fine cream cheese out there.
Let's see what else. Nick's talking about Picard. I've been watching Picard. I like Picard. But I don't want to talk about it too much. I've been watching it. The last episode, I'm caught up and all of that. So it's a good show. It's a good show. To watch it. So on your site, and I heard somebody quoting you just earlier this week on how Ahsoka season 1 is going to end.
Right.
We know how it's going to behave.
Behave.
I'm reading Matt Risman. We know how it's supposed to end. And I don't want to go too far down that because we'll have time. There's time between now and then to get into that.
We'll be talking about that for probably till the next trailer, right?
Yeah. So I'm just trying to show people how to keep up on your Star Wars news. You go to Bespin Bulletin, you read his articles, and you go to makingstarwars.net that has a much girthier font.
My font is like almost twice as thick.
Right? And Bespin should take it personally.
That's THICC. So it's the Rizzo of fonts. Lizzo, not Rizzo. I was looking at Risman. I was calling you Rizzo, Risman.
So I do want to get into the spoilers that are coming. And we've got a couple. Before we do that, there was an interview coming out of Celebration with Rick Famuyiwa. So Rick says, I know there's a lot of expectations. Might have shifted both terms for what it meant for Din Djarin and also Bo, and what does it mean? Who's the Mandalorian at this point? And so I think it could be anyone. Now this is Rick talking, right? Our director, right? He says, I think it could be anyone. Where did it go? When I zoomed in, I got carried away with the zooming.
My font's so much bigger than that font. Look at how tiny that font is. What is this?
I know. How am I supposed to keep up with that? And how should there it goes. It could be anyone. I think that's what they're trying to define in many ways. What it means to be Mandalorian.
Right.
Well, there's that, and then you keep going. The show opens with Din is the center of the storytelling. It's sophomore year. Boba Fett becomes the titular character. Now this is where I thought
that isn't really true.
Bespin's got a side hustle. He's actually working for Screen Rant.
No. I mean, like I could see the like in like literary analysis going like, yeah, and then you meet a new Mandalorian and other Mandalorian in that season, and Boba Fett's really important, but like
the titular character.
I mean, he ends up getting his own series, unless we're considering the Book of Boba Fett as just being a chapter of The Mandalorian, season 2.5 or something. I'm like, this is a bit of a stretch for me.
It's a bit of a stretch for me too. To say season 1 was Din as a titular character, season 2 is Boba Fett as a titular character, and then season 3 is Bo-Katan Kryze as the titular character. I think it's a stretch.
Yeah,
season 1. Season 3, definitely. Bo-Katan is the central character to the story. Her character development, her character arc is definitely at the heart of season 3 of The Mandalorian. and there is this now dissonance between the name the Mandalorian and what we all thought is the Mandalorian, Din Djarin. Like that's the story. Din and Grogu, the wolf and cub. All of a sudden now it's Bo.
The very first scoop I ever had, though, was that it was about that the series, the actual goal of it was the restoration of Mandalore. That's what it was, and that this guy was going to be like a knight, and think of a Jedi Knight, but for the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
And so I have to say, I'm not exactly on the boat of things changed.
Well,
right now, I'm not saying it didn't take unexpected, didn't go in unexpected places for them as creatives, but I don't think it was necessarily ever a given that he would become Mandalore.
No, I don't either. And I used to have little disagreements with people who says that he's going to become Mandalore.
Yeah.
And the ruler of Mandalore. I'm like, no, that ain't his jam. That's not what he's interested in. He doesn't want to rule. He doesn't want to lead. He just wants to be left alone, and he and his cub go do their thing.
Yeah.
It's clear. Like, he couldn't make it more clear. And people are like, well, he's the reluctant ruler. Like, okay, right. I could see that coming around. But at this point, it's quite clear that Bo-Katan is being given the story she needs to rise up to be the ruler of Mandalore. That's what's happening, right?
But Sketchcraft says the problem with this take is that most characters in the series call him Mando, and if people call him Mando, then the show is called Mandalorian. It's on the posters, but now you can see why the audience thinks that from a marketing
100%.
But also, I grew up in a very brown neighborhood and was called White Boy, and I do not represent all of us, nor am I all of us. I have no intention to unite us. Don't worry, though. That's not my plan.
Yeah, I was called Yankee right before they
Yankee
the crap out of me. Yeah,
Yankee.
I mean, is it? No, you know.
I forgot you're like 300 years old because you're Santa Claus. But
my childhood story, when we moved to Oklahoma, a bunch of kids took me out in the woods and beat me up and left me there. You know, that was a traumatic event in my childhood. But they thought I was a northerner, and there were lots of things that they were unhappy about with me. But anyway, it was a traumatic event in my childhood. And I don't take that as me representing the encompassing all of them either. But the point is, I do think it's fair to criticize the overall show arc, kind of shifting us into another lane. Din is certainly still central to the story. He's still part of everything that's going on. It just doesn't feel like the Din and Grogu show anymore.
No,
and that's where we started, right?
We're seeing these bigger or other things happen now through him. Like, he's how we see Boba. He's sort of like, in a weird way, they've kind of become the R2 and 3PO of this thing, where like we're seeing the saga through their eyes to some extent. And but I'm not critical of that itself, but I am critical of the fact that Grogu and Din haven't had like a solid episode that's just them, like really being them that we know from the last couple seasons. Like since they got back together, there hasn't been a really good episode like that, and it's weird that that was overlooked or lost in this narrative.
Well, I want to bring Darren's Pedro's leaving the show. That's not true. That's not true. His involvement in the show is certainly reduced, as he's been doing The Last of Us. They wrote that into his contract, and there's rumors out there that said that he was going to die this season. Din Djarin's not going to survive the season. And coming out of Celebration, we did hear that the movie is supposed to be a culmination of this entire story, like the Mando verse. And there was some confusion at first that said it was the end of Din and Grogu's story. And that's not what it says, right? It goes all the way back to, it's the culmination of this whole Mandoverse era. The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, so on, right? So it's all of that coming to its culmination. Din might survive the movie, but we know he's not going to die in season 3, nor season 4. I feel quite confident in saying that.
What makes me laugh is that it's like the industry, people in the industry and fans are like looking at this like it's a sitcom. Like it's like he's like the dad on Malcolm in the Middle or something. He's got a mask on with a voice that you can emulate easily if he did leave, if Pedro left. They don't, it's not a problem. It's actually for them, it's not. He could just leave the helmet on for the rest of eternity now if they want to.
Yeah.
And if you get 4 seasons out from it and then you decide to take the mask off again, if it was a different actor at that point, we wouldn't have seen his face for so long in the series narrative itself. It'd be like, it's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I and that story that came out, like I said, I heard that what happened. Like I said, I had that Pedro. I was the one who put it on the internet that he was the Mando, and he was brought in late in season 1. And the negotiations that went on got a bit dicey because he didn't want to be a voice actor. And they fought, and then he got the pay hike, and then he wanted to become a voice actor because he wanted to do other things because he's getting all these different roles now. So I think he's having his cake and eating it too. They would have to like literally just not want to do business with him anymore, which they do because he's Pedro Pascal. So I think everybody's winning right now by having him in the show, even in this limited capacity. I don't think we are necessarily, but they are.
Yeah, in my head's kind of splitting on a couple other topics that tied to this. So I said to say that there's a lot of exaggeration of tension between Pedro and the franchise. There's an exaggeration of tension. There was a thing, and the thing has been resolved long ago. And he's still happy to be Din Djarin. He's still happy to be involved in Mandalorian, and he's looking forward to continuing that role. So I don't expect Pedro Pascal to depart from the franchise anytime soon.
Right.
Anytime soon. Even coming out of Mando movie, whatever that might be, I think that's possible he'll continue out of that. Whether it's still just as a voice actor or whether he gets more like face screen time, we'll find out. But I think that's just the way it is.
If I were Pedro, I would want my face in that movie. If you end up having a movie where it's like all of the Star Wars greats of the era teaming up in an Avengers style story, I think that's the one where you're like, you know what, I'm not in the cult anymore because Bo-Katan says I don't have to be.
And then there was this, Darren also asked, what about the rumors of John and leaving because of Kathleen Kennedy interfering with Mando? Any possible truth to that? Again, I
don't think so.
I take the same thing here that is with Pedro. There's been an exaggeration of something that has a kernel of truth to it, but it's been exaggerated far beyond anything recognizable to what actually happened and what's going on. As it goes with Grogu's story being brought back in the Book of Boba Fett and Kathleen Kennedy having a hand in putting that in that series, I don't know. I wasn't there. I couldn't tell you, how those discussions went. But I do know that Jon Favreau, before season 1 of Mando, said that it was the Paper Moon story. It was the inspiration for the series, for his when he talked to Dave Filoni about this idea of a Mando. And the whole idea was built around a Paper Moon story arc. And that story arc has a resolution that goes very similar to what we saw. But being in, what did Kathleen Kennedy tell him? Oh, hey, put it here instead of there. I don't know. Wasn't there. And is Jon Favreau, miffed because of it? I doubt it, because that was still his story. He was still going to have them come right back. That was, go watch Paper Moon, folks. That's how it ends. The kid doesn't stay with its family even 24 hours. Like, the kid goes, checks it out, says, nah, I'm out. And boom, gone. Same thing. It's the Paper Moon story. And just do a little research on that, and you can find all of the evidence that you need. Was it supposed to be in the middle of Book of Boba Fett? I don't know. And if it was, not, and Kathleen Kennedy kind of pushed it in there,
But
John's not going to be super mad about it.
but we do end up with where I see your point in terms of like story structure. We do end up with John now saying like, "Oh no, he was there for like a year." He is like saying that though. He is saying that, and
I know.
And you want to know why it's true?
Well,
Bo-Katan's hair. That's why it's
Bo-Katan's
true. I'm not even kidding. Look at her hair, and then you go and then it's grown like a year. That's the one thing where you're like, was there anything that really says that time has passed? And yeah, it's Bo's hair.
There's a couple things. Dave and John, I don't think have it nailed down yet.
It's movie time,
it
you
is,
guys. In reality, you can't. But if we're just gonna if we're gonna play the super nerds who like look at context clues, that's it. You know.
I got you. And Nick, I don't disagree with you here, saying that at the end of season 2, I don't know that you should have called it Bo-Katan or anything like that. I think there's been 2 errors. One, calling the series The Mandalorian. I think that's a mistake. They should have come up with something else, and then you could have had like we had. I said this before, like the Clone
Wars.
Mandalorians
plural.
I get you.
It's all,
you can make it work. I just saying, like, had they come out different, you could have had Bo's story. You could have what's his name?
We had Book of Boba Fett. We still don't even know what Book of Boba Fett means. Right. Let's just stick with the Mandalorian, boys. That's what I'm saying. They're not good at this. They don't got this.
If you want all of this to be one story, give it one title that encompasses the story. And if Boba Fett is the Book of Boba Fett, you could have the Book of Din Djarin, you could have the Book of Grogu, the Book of Boba Fett, the Book of Bo-Katan, right? All as like whatever, right?
Under the library of boring to me.
So. Well, you know, I am me. So there's that. I am easily entertained, as Nick likes to point out. So there's all of that. Wow. What did it say? John and Kathleen were very friendly on stage. There's no animosity. I agree with that. And
if that story was as it appeared, as it was reported anyways, like what kind, I mean, I hate to use the word, but what a cock. If that happened to him and it was that bad and he's like, okay, Kathy, I'll go write season 4 and produce a movie for you. You know, I mean, that's not what would really, if it was like that, he would just be like, well, thanks. Time for somebody else to take over. And he would bounce just like everybody else who bounces does. You know what I mean? Like that's what literally would have happened. He would have been like, well, I'm going to go, remake the Rescuers Down Under for Disney in live action or something. Like that's what would have probably happened, in my opinion.
It's great. Rob. Well, first of all, Coach's Archives, right? Says one of my teams won the Gatlin Pittman Christmas tournament there up in Gatlinburg. There's a lot of tournaments, basketball, volleyball, stuff like that go on there as well. And then Sketchcraft, Rob. Santa wasn't there, but Santa always knows. That's true. That's true. Mike Popcorn YouTuber Porter. Some YouTubers would argue the Mando thing. I'm getting my popcorn ready. I know they argue otherwise because it makes good clicks, right? They get people in there.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, they could call, like, if you like season 1 of The Mandalorian and they call it Grogu's Wild Ride, it's still the season 1 of The Mandalorian. So you know what I mean? It's the same stories. I don't really care personally.
Just kind of blast through some of these chats real quick. Josh did a Nerd Seeds has a KK scoop. He gets all his scoops from Reddit. Let's see. Your coach is the reg pregnancy rumor. That's obviously fake news, right? That's somebody's done some Photoshop work on that. That's not.
I'm the father.
Picture. It's not an actual picture.
And people get you pregnant, Kathy. We'll get you pregnant.
People at Celebration that were there said that, no, that's not what we saw. And I know they were just having fun with it. You could catch you could almost hear the tongue in cheek in his video on that. There's no way Mando was taking the bus for jobs an entire year.
Yeah.
What about the rumors of old Filoni EU? He was a bad guy. The rumors they're bringing the old Filoni EU, where he was the bad guy.
Is he talking about Sabaoth? Is he doing some?
I'm not sure. AG.
Yeah, but there was no Filoni EU, so I'm not really. So that's
I think there's something lost in the translation to the chat.
Still has the best name in all of YouTube. Progressively relaxing.
I love it. I love it. Let's see. Leia, hello.
Hello, Rose.
Rebooting behind the scenes, creating a Star Wars story, make Kathleen Kennedy the good guy now. Hilarious. Oh, people are funny. Let's see. I think we can get caught up. Let's see. I'm just scrolling fast. If I miss something and you think it was good enough to repost it. Maybe I'll see it. We have Mandalorian season 3, episode 7 spoilers. This is the point. You guys have hung out with us for over an hour, and if you don't want to hear the spoilers, we appreciate your support here. I really, really do. This channel, it brings me a lot, and I hope that we have fun hanging out together here. You guys appreciate what we're doing. But if you need to leave, please do the things, like it and share and let people know what we're doing here. Even if you don't like us, still, it helps. It helps.
These are I will become the next Santa. I will replace you. Just wait.
I can help you with that. So there's lots of spoilers out there about this next episode of The Mandalorian, because the folks at Celebration saw the entire episode. And if you go, will the spoilers be like yesterday's Zoom call? I think so, RF Gaming. And for those who want to play the predictions game and see if you can get on the season leaderboard, you're going to have to pay attention because Santa knows the things. And
and suck it, Reddit. All of the stuff I told you was in there. Now don't you feel dumb? Sorry, I got to tell Reddit to suck it once an episode. They deserve it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So Thrawn, we have this story come out from the direct, and they gave hey Matt, if you're available, I'll send you the link. Because he saw the episode.
Risman on the scene.
Rister.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Field reporter Matt Risman is being helicoptered in right now to tell us what he heard in another land far away that was not America.
Not America. Yeah. He said, go ahead and send it. It's a little loud here, but happy to come on. All right. I sent you the link, Matt. So if you want to do the predictions, this article here from the direct and the link to the prediction game is in the chat here or in the description. The first 7 minutes is spelled out. And so
I saw the first 7.
So it says it opens. This is spoilers. You're too late now. We've already gotten there. The opening saw Katie O'Brien's Elia Kane. She's the bad guy that fried Dr. Pershing's brain. Right, that's her. Talking to a hologram of Moff Gideon. Kane tells Gideon how the pirates were thwarted by Bo, Din, and the rest of the Mandalorians. Right, and then it cuts to Gideon. He hangs up like that, right? And then he walks down the corridor, walking past a number of stormtroopers that closely resemble the Phase 2 clone troopers from prequel trilogy. Right. So he walks by some clone troopers. Blah blah blah.
And then those are the guys that I put out a few weeks ago. That is them.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. While doing it, audience received glimpses of what looked to be vats or tubes similar to those seen in The Mandalorian. And Matt could tell us because he saw it as well. You saw this? You saw the vats? Are they proto Snokes? Or you can't quite tell?
I couldn't tell from I saw a cam. I couldn't tell.
There's a lot of people saying they're proto Snokes or they're Snoke, clones. And Star Wars Meg has told us we definitely need to watch The Force Awakens tonight, like today. Because we're going to see things.
I think she's just tricking you. Don't do it.
Okay.
I have no idea. I don't know why she says that.
It says afterwards, you see him go down and talk to some folks called the Shadow Council. There's a series of holograms there, the Imperial warlords. These include the father of General Hux. So now, General Hux from the sequels, that's Armitage Hux, right? His dad is Brindle Hux. And Brindle Hux is in some other stories. He had a big part in the Battle of Jakku, blah, blah, blah.
And it's played by the brother of Hux from the films.
It's
the real life
Armitage's
brother.
Oh, I see.
No. The actor is his
actor.
People were saying it was actually Donald Gleason. It's not. It's his brother. I don't remember the
Gotcha.
version. Yeah.
Perfect. I know, Nick. Sorry.
Different Weasley.
I know. Tie us to the sequel. It's happening. You're just gonna have to take some extra Tums. Get yourself some Pepto-Bismol. It coats the stomach, makes the things easier to go down. It'll be okay.
Well, yeah, they're still making the sequel films, so that's probably just gonna continue to happen. Probably gonna
and then it says you'll also get to see Paleon, right? He's Thrawn's second in command guy, and then Gideon is complaining about them waiting for Thrawn's grand plan.
And I was happy to see this because I was trying to get where he was at in a lot of the Ahsoka stuff, and I was just like, I couldn't find him.
Hello there. Hey, and then we just finish up this real quick. It says Gideon says that we see that Thrawn's been missing, and Gideon says that Hux's father's been focused on the cloning, and notes they have to deal with the Mandalorians. So that's the first 7 minutes. There is more, but wait, there's more.
So I just have to say, Jason, all your leaks were correct again.
Cool. It's nice to hear it.
Everything you had to say was correct, and I think it might be the same actor. The Daddy Hux might be the same actor that played the Hux we know. It seemed like the same guy. I don't know. There was no credits put up, but it could be the same guy.
Okay.
And the guy that they had doing Paleon, on point, absolutely on point. But when Moff Gideon was walking into the place where the Shadow Council was meeting, he walked by, okay, everyone just close your ears. He walked by some cloning tubes. There was some things going on. He walked by his stormtroopers who looked like the Mandalorian commando troopers from Days Gone By. They had that gray and white. We find out later they're in the Beskar armor. They looked really, really cool. So again, I said, oh, Jason had that one. He had that one right. It was like, that's them. That's them. Yes, it looked exactly like you expected, and it was very clear in that meeting that Gideon's not a big Thrawn fan. It's like he's like I'm waiting on Santa Claus to come. You keep telling me Thrawn's coming. He's not here. I mean, all I see is you, Paleon. I'm waiting on Godot here. We need new leadership, right? He was making a power play. So anyone who thought that Gideon and Thrawn were on the same page, I hate to break it, no. However, Hux and Paleon control everything. They control the bombers. They are the bosses of this. And it seems like Hux even more than Paleon, because Gideon was like, I need help. I need these things. And I don't know, Santa, if you want me to talk about the things that he wanted, because that's another thing that Jason said is absolutely correct. But he's like, I need more bombers, I need TIE interceptors, and I need 3 Praetorian guards. I don't know why 3.
Just 3.
3 is the number he needed, and they become very relevant later in the episode. And they're like, nah, you're just showing off again. Why do you do this stuff? Blah, blah. And it's so funny because Kaylin's like, oh, he says I'm showy. He wants Praetorian guards. I mean, there was a little bit of antagonism there, even in this council. And Gideon's like, no, man, the Mandalorians want to retake their homeworld. And as soon as he said that, they're like, oh, we'll give you everything you want. And at the time he said it, I didn't understand why. So again, I don't know how many spoilers we want in this stream. I mean, I can tell you all I can tell you all about why he said that, because
Why is it?
Because his base is Mandalore. He is right outside the old Great Forge in Mandalore. And I didn't get it. I didn't get it at the beginning until they came later and they're like, here we go, we're doing it, we've got to get here. They turn around the corner and I'm like, wait a minute, this is getting more and more Imperial. I mean, as soon as they go on a little bit further, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is not good. And then Gideon comes down with his helmet on, with his armor on, with his jetpack on. He's like, here I am.
And Jason's told us he's going to be wearing that helmet. Now, don't tell us the specifics on the helmet, because I think there's a nice reveal for that. Right?
No, I'm not going to. But he said, this is my new dark trooper armor, and the best thing about it is I'm inside. And he was, like Jason said, he was large and in charge, and he kicked ass in that thing. I was like, oh my gosh. After the last episode with Lizzo and Jack Black, this is what we're getting now? This is like such a different story. I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm still a little blown away by what we got in this episode. So I won't spoil the whole thing. But all I have to say, Santa, is you're like, oh, Din Djarin's going to go on for a while, blah, blah, or whatever. You'll see. You'll see.
Did you like Menker Grogu? Was it cool?
So I thought I would hate it. I thought I was absolutely going to hate this. But they gave him a yes/no button. So he's talking back to Din the whole time. He's like, no. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen, because now he talks. Now he has a yes and a no. So he's like lumbering around to this thing, and he's like, no. And Din's like, he looks at him at one point, he's like, this is really not working for me. He's talking back the whole time. It really was amazing. It really was amazing. Not at all what you expected.
And I know we're losing a major character at the end of the show as well.
I don't know if you call him a major character, but we are losing one.
Yeah, I think he counts. I mean, people know his name and recognize him by
It's really out there at this point.
Paz Vizsla's.
Well, he ultimately gets defeated by the 3 Praetorians.
Yeah.
He at the end they have to be called in to put him down, and I'm like, okay, that was pretty cool. I have to say that was really, really cool, the way that it happens. And he goes out like you would want to go out as a Mandalorian. He had a purpose, right? He was, there is a reason why it all happened, and he ended up saving everyone else as a result of that. I'm like, hey, bravo. Yeah. I wouldn't have expected otherwise.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now, Meg said that there's huge tie-ins to The Force Awakens. Would you say that as well, or no?
Well, I think she was probably referring to Hux's dad.
Okay.
And some of the other setup, what was going on, the Praetorians and everything. But what happens is Hux's dad wanted Pershing for Project Necromancer, which we all know Necromancer is ultimately the project that brings Palpatine back. Right. And Gideon has an interesting response when Hux is like, what happened to Pershing? And Gideon's like, well, it didn't work out. He's not available, at least not right now. So it left it open to the fact that he may yet have a factor. But it seemed very clear that Hux was on that whole train of, we got to get, somehow Palpatine returns, that's my job, right? Somehow we need to make that happen. And then Paleon was like, y'all just need to chill until Thrawn comes back. And yet nobody believed he's coming back. There wasn't one of them that council. It was very clear that this had gone on for a minute. And everyone's like, no, it's not happening. He's never here. You keep saying it. Where is he? What is he doing? You know, it doesn't. And Pelion was just like, well, well, part of his coming back is the secrecy of when he comes back. And Gideon's like, nah, just not buying it anymore.
Yeah.
We need new leadership. We cannot continue to do this.
Yeah.
And that part of it was left very open ended. But like I say, between Hux, I think Hux gave him the Praetorians because there is a backstory with Hux. He trained Praetorians. It was Commandant Hux, and he encountered Zer Leonis. I think Zer Leonis is going to be in Ahsoka now for sure because he encountered them in that academy that he trained folks. So he sent him the Praetorians, and Pelion sent him the bombers and the TIE interceptors to replenish his forces.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Dark Council is actually working together to some degree, right?
Well, they were very organized. They were very much on the same page, just like the Shadow Council was in Legends. And they're like, we can't appear this organized, or they're going to be onto us. But they weren't like, Imperial remnants just like out and about. They were very much on the same page, which I found interesting.
Very good.
Very interesting.
Very good. Well, thank you, Matt. I really appreciate you coming
Thank you, Matt.
on.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a direct flight back down to close to home? Or are you going to Atlanta? What's the deal?
No, I'm gonna fly from here back to Jacksonville in a couple of hours. I'm gonna eat my food now, and I'm gonna fly there. So, but I just wanted to come on and make sure. I had to say to Jason again, you got it, brother. I mean,
thanks, man.
Anyone who believes your leaks are bullshit. Oh, I can't say that here. Our crap. This time, I hadn't found one that was wrong. So well done.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate
Very
it.
well done.
Perfect.
Have a good lunch, Matt.
Let me eat my food now. Thank you for having me on, Santa, and you all. Peace and love. Have a great
Thanks
one.
a lot. Take care.
See you later.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Wow. That was good. Thanks, Matt Risman, again, for joining with us to talk about that. We had heard in Reddit, some of the Reddit leaks were extensive on this as well, right? So, but to hear it directly
of the people who had seen it this weekend.
Yeah. So to hear it directly from Matt is nice. So again, if you guys are doing your predictions, you have the information. Do your predictions wisely. So it's good. It's good. Anything else for the greater good? We do have a Mike Porter dad joke. We definitely have to get in before we close up. But in the chat, you guys have been great. We've had some visitors here today, and we've covered, I think, all the things.
Nerd Mafia's quitting predictions? No, you can't.
And by the way, I can't wait for Ahsoka because I'm going to smash you guys. I'm going to absolutely crush all of you.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean, I know some things, but I also know Jason Ward. Jason Ward shares information.
I'm still gonna lose your predictions thing because it's like somebody pulled. I was laughing. I was filling it out today.
Yeah.
I was filling out your episode 7 predictions form.
Yeah.
And as I'm like doing it, I'm just like, I imagine if I ask sources these questions. In episode 7, does he pull out the Darksaber? They'd be like, "What's your problem, dude?" You know what I mean? No, like the stuff that's on there. That's why I can't win it. Like I literally have no advantage whatsoever because it's like, do you want to know about like why they have Praetorians, or do you want to know if he pulls out a Darksaber?
I know. We put those questions in there specifically to thwart you from just winning,
and it works. It works really, really well.
Somebody gets killed by a blaster. Well,
yeah, it's like, whoa,
that's quite specific. What happens if they get stabbed through with the Darksaber?
Does somebody shoot a blaster and say Dank Ferric?
I really need to know. Exactly. Yeah. Din walks in and beheads a guy with the Darksaber. You're like, well, great, but did anybody get shot? Yeah. I just need to know. Slow it down. I need to know this.
I think somebody gets shot. I
mean, that's great. Darksaber, check. So somebody gets shot. Oh. So I had to do the same thing. I had to guess the same things. I don't know either. I don't know. Somebody gets shot. I can infer, right? I can infer that that's going to happen. And is he going to fight with a monster? Well, I heard there's a monster involved in this episode. There's a big dinosaur kind of creature involved, and I also heard that we're going to see your crusty old Mando guy.
Yeah.
Right. So crusty old Mando guy and a big monster are in it.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Got a yacht, a little yacht. I heard.
Yeah. So, but is Dan going to fight the monster thing? I don't know. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. You guys have to guess. Is he gonna use his armor weapon? Is he gonna shoot a flamethrower at him or something like that? I don't know. We have to guess, right? So even though we know all the spoilers, there's still a lot of guesswork involved. I did my predictions live on my Zoom call yesterday. So we have witnesses that can tell you. Yeah, we have.
You're not
witnesses.
changing it after, like, oh well, Santa really meant this.
I will say this. I have changed things up before. No, this is the same joke that Meg makes all the time, Coach. The same joke. So you're fine. You're fine. But the predict like I knew all the leaks. I've shared with all of you what I know, and from here it's all guesses. Right? What do I know? What's going to happen? Good luck. And we have a lot of fun doing the watch parties, looking at the results of the predictions and making fun of Jason for being wrong.
Yeah, you do have fun with that, don't you?
Well, because all of your leaks are right? Like you do your homework, you get multiple sources.
One does not speak unless one knows. So,
and then if you are making some sort of inference, you'll say as such. And Meg does the same, right? She'll say the same. She's making an inference. Maybe so.
Not some of those titles, though. Oh, come on, that's a little bit.
Nobody needs to see this cake, KG.
I love you, Meg.
KG.
Yeah, show the cake.
No, we can't show the cake. It's not good. It's not good. I've rigged the prediction system. Well, I tried to make it fair. And then because Jason isn't wrong, Rob's wrong. Well, I have seen Rob mislead Jason. Like Jason's on the right path, and then Rob steers him the other way. So that happens as well.
Hey, you got your movie, Rob. So just shut up, man. You're right. You got the movie. Okay. They said you were right.
Mike Porter dad joke. Why does everyone want Din Djarin? Why does everyone want Din Djarin to help them out? This one's tough. Because he has that man-do attitude. Man-do attitude.
Man.
It's more of a visual joke.
And I'm tied with this guy in the comp. We both have 66, I think, right now. We're like, our brains are the same.
It's great. So thanks for hanging out. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate you hanging out. And Nick, you guys, thanks for hanging out. And Matt, of course, coming in and giving us all the leaks from there. It was great to see a lot of you guys over visiting today, and as well as our regulars we have here all the time. You can do a lot to help the channel out just by letting people know we exist. It's nice. Yeah, Mando sounds like a haircut. Mando, can do, Mando. It does. It says like a man, it's an updo. I don't know, a Mando. Mando. Jason and I share the same brain. Very funny, Mike. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day. I can't wait to see this episode of The Mandalorian. It looks like it's going to be super exciting. And
it's tonight, right? It's tonight.
It is tonight.
Yeah, it's tonight.
It is tonight. And next week, I'm going to miss the finale live stream because I'm going to be down in Gatlinburg. So we'll have to try to maybe.
I really love that Gatlinburg.
I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll figure out something. All right, Jason, thanks for hanging out with me again today,
Anytime,
my friend.
Dude.
I really appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. And all you do for us, and appreciate your friendship. So thanks for
Same.
that. All right. And until next time, my friends, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Can't wait to see you next time. And until then, ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, everybody. Bye-bye.